Catherine. I made a roux video for beginners a few years ago, and I want to make another one for you, and this time I'm going to use half gluten-free flour and regular flour. And this is the gluten-free flour that I'm using today. There's all sorts of gluten-free flour. This is an all-purpose flour by Bob's Red Mill, and using oil, it's a grapeseed oil and canola oil blend mix. I'm going to mix that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I have a couple of friends helping me today. We got Amy and Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. Hi, I'm Amy.
So here we go. 1 cup of each. I'm going to go ahead and add the oil to the pan. I'm going to turn it on high and just incorporate this oil in the flour. Okay, you see how it's bumpy? Let me show you a trick. I'm gonna fix that.
Fix that bump.
I'm gonna fix the bumps. Okay, so here we go. Let's get rid of the bumps. Just get a wire whisk. One thing you don't want is a little bumps of flour in your roux. You want it to cook evenly. And see, this is way oily enough. This is fine. When I started making roux, we would put 1-to-1 flour to oil, the ratio. But I found that it was just so much oil. But this is fluid enough. I think this is fine. If you find that it's just not enough oil, just add a little oil when you get started. Now I have the temperature up to high, but I'm going to be turning it down pretty quick, because one thing you don't want to do with this roux, girls, is cook it too fast. Because what happens when you have burnt roux?
It tastes bad.
It tastes burnt the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gumbo's going to be like
And it
kind of
smells
nasty.
burnt.
It
Yeah.
smells burnt
And
too.
you can't get rid of it.
Campfire.
You can't put a potato in it and get rid of
Yeah.
it.
No, not at all.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn it down to 8 and then let you all have a hand at it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You can't pull out the burnt parts and
No.
expect it to be okay either.
And you can't stop stirring either. And the spoon we're using is a core, made by Core, and it's pointed, and it really does scrape the pot nicely, but it makes no noise.
Show us the spoon.
There it is.
So you want to try? You want to do it?
Sure.
We find that the rooster the roux made with gluten-free flour just digests so much easier for us.
Half and half.
Yeah, half and half. And I've made all gluten-free roux. Now you have to be very, very careful with that, because it really wants to burn. I think the potato starch is what causes it to want to stick a little bit. And even when you, in your gumbo, when using the gluten-free flour, you want to, I'm turning the heat down because it's cooking a little fast, and we don't want to let it run away with us. I find that the gluten-free flour wants to stick at the bottom of your gumbo pot, and if it does, just take a wire whisk or a good spoon and scrape it up.
See that?
So here we go. We're holding the spoon handle like a pencil. I think it gives your wrist more of a motion than like this. I would have a hard time like this.
So that all that bubbling's okay.
The bubbling's okay. If you find, this is the thing, if you can keep up with the stir. You want to keep up with the stir.
Okay.
If you find like you're stirring and it's starting to you see a lot of dark and it's happening way too fast and you don't have time to do this, then turn it down. Turning it down is not going to hurt anything. It'll just take a little longer to make your roux.
When do you
How
want
long?
to start seeing the dark?
Well,
How long?
probably in about 5 minutes it's going to
Okay.
start turning. So how long did you stir your roux, Rachel?
Maybe like 30 minutes or 45 minutes because I had it on like 3 or 4.
And that's okay. And it
Yeah.
came out okay.
Oh yeah, came out great.
Did you use all just
All
regular
just
flour?
regular flour.
And oil? What kind of oils do you use?
I use canola.
Okay, that's
Half
good.
canola, half olive, I believe.
Okay. And the reason I use the grapeseed is because it can tolerate the heat better than. And if you use olive oil, just use the blended one, not
Right.
the extra virgin, because
Right.
it cannot tolerate the heat.
It's kind of a pancake consistency.
Yeah, it's pancake now.
Okay.
So how long has it been?
It's been 6 minutes.
Oh, so it's been 6 minutes, and our roux just starting to turn a little bit more of a light caramel color. And I find that when you're doing the gluten-free flour, all of a sudden it seems like it starts changing colors, and then it starts changing rapidly. So you just want to keep an eye on it. It smells real good. It's not burning. We're not letting it burn. The girls have been doing a great job stirring. This is called the roux stir.
Rooster?
Yeah, the rooster. So how many minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 10 minutes into the process, and it's really starting to be more of a medium to a true caramel color. And it was starting to be turning brown a little bit too fast, so I turned it down to a 3 on, which is a medium low on my stove. So, do y'all want to get a feel of this? You have to keep up with it. Has a really good smell. Now the roux is very hot. You don't want to splash this on yourself.
Yeah, some got on my foot.
Oh
And
yeah,
It's painful.
Oh, it'll burn right through.
yeah, it really does. It's very high heat.
Any children?
No children around when you're making the roux.
Right.
They can watch, but far away. All it takes is a little splatter to really hurt. Looking good, looking good.
It smells kind of like popcorn to me.
It does. It does.
So what kind of pot is this?
This is a cast iron pot, and really it's the best
Okay.
thing to use because it can withstand high heat.
Okay.
We've used this, it's cast iron, but it's enameled inside and out, and it changes, the heat is so high that it changes the color of the enamel on the inside, so I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay.
If you like your enameled pots white, don't make roux in them. Stick with one of these cast iron pots, and you want it deep enough because as you can see the roux is splashing up. You want the depth. This is only 2 cups of flour and a cup of oil, but you need that depth so that it can come up along the sides and not splash over and burn you. So find yourself a good cast iron pot and use it and keep it clean, and it'll last you for a lifetime. This is a very old pot, but I've been making roux in it for 45 years.
45 years?
A long, long time. Okay. Spoon. Scraping the bottom.
Right.
You can you
Okay.
set your own motion,
Right.
because everybody stirs a little bit different, but what you want to do is every so often grab around
Grab
the
the
sides, back and forth, the corners. It's getting nice and dark. This is a good color, and you really could stop right here, but I'll try to push it a little bit, get it a little bit darker. In fact, I might turn the temp down just a little because your pot is going to hold a lot of heat.
Right.
Even when you take this off, it's still cooking. As you can see, in a minute we're gonna add the onion to it. I prepped and chopped up an onion to add to the roux, and what the onion does is it gives the roux a nice flavor. So your gumbo that you're going to make that day is going to taste nice. It's going to taste really good. We used to make our, do our roux. Well, when we bought the roux, we did this for a few years. We bought roux. We didn't make our roux. Then, I don't know, we just didn't like the store-bought roux, so we started making our own.
And it didn't digest well.
And it just didn't digest well, and so I thought, I'm going to try the gluten-free, which it worked really good, and it helps it digest so easily. But we found that it just didn't have any flavor. You made your gumbo that day, but it was like, it just was without flavor. So when you add your onion to the roux, it immediately adds flavor. And your gumbo that day tastes good.
It smells really good too.
So Pat he'd put the roux and the water together with the onions and everything, and he'd let it sit, maybe overnight or for a few hours, because it just wanted the flavor to start getting in there. But this way, no problem. It's going to taste good today. Okay, so I like this.
That looks good.
What do you think?
I feel
I
good.
agree.
So what we're going to do is just turn it off. I'm going to stir it right here for just a few minutes. Take it off the fire and add the onions. How long has it been? About?
20 minutes.
For 22 minutes.
Okay, it's because we're going slow. If this is the first time you've made roux, don't think you've got to hurry up and make it. You'll be disappointed if you burn it and have to start all over again. So just go slow.
Right.
It'll still turn dark. It'll just take a little longer.
And there's a popcorn smell going on, like cooked popcorn, and it's
So
so don't think you're burning it if it starts to smell.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay.
Just gonna go over the amounts. We did 1 cup of the gluten-free flour and 1 cup of just all-purpose flour, doesn't matter what brand. And 1 cup of oil. And what I did is I mixed the canola oil and the grapeseed oil. And you'll come out with about at least 2 cups of made roux. Maybe 3 cups. Half of that you can make a nice sized gumbo. Feed 4, maybe 6 people. It depends, how many sides you have. If you have potato salad, sweet potatoes, whatever. And if you want to make a really big gumbo, you'll use all the roux. But what I do is I add the amount of water I think I'm going to need, or you can use some stock with that too. And then I start adding just my roux and stir it in with the whisk to get it all dissolved. And then if I like it, I'll leave it. If I need more roux, I add more roux.
By the color.
Yeah, I just look at the color and the thickness. Now, the gluten-free flour is going to thicken your gumbo a little bit more, which is nice. And it makes a wonderful stew. You can also make stew with this roux. You don't have to make just gumbo. And stew, the only difference between stew and gumbo is the amount of water that you put.
Right.
You put less water. So right now we're going to take it off the fire. The burner's been off for about 5 minutes. Now we're taking it off. Cut up onion. You want to get this, Pat?
How much onion is that?
Well, it's 1 medium-sized
One
onion
medium-sized.
chopped up, that's 2 cups. And here you
Kind
go.
of a coarse
See?
chop.
Yeah, just a coarse chop. It doesn't have to be
It's
small.
not minced.
Not minced, just a coarse chop. And as you can see, this oil is so hot that it is cooking the onions. And that's what adds the flavor to this roux.
It also seems to get a little darker too.
And yes, it's
It's
getting
still
a little
cooking.
darker. It's still cooking. So this pot is hot, the roux is hot, and everything is still cooking. Here, give it a try.
It's a lot thicker.
Kind of like gum.
Oh, it's a
Kind of
lot
like glue
thicker.
consistency.
It does not smell so good.
Oh wow.
You still can't stop stirring.
No, not at all, especially now.
You want to keep stirring it because you want the onions to,
Go for it.
you want the onions to cook evenly, because if you just let it be, all the water that's coming out of the onions is going to pool around and it won't be an even cook. And if you need to hold on to the pot, sometimes it helps.
Okay.
It wants to wiggle. Okay, was there anything else, girls, that we needed to say to recap for this?
I don't think so.
I don't have any more questions. That's for sure.
We're all done.
It smells so good.